Hi and welcome back. My name is Susan and this is Skullhead, the gardening, cooking, and DIY channel. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you my selection on seeds for this year's garden, and I'm going to show you where I store my seeds, and I'm also going to show you some scheduling that I've put together for myself, and maybe it'll help you as well. So let's get started. So before I get started on telling you how I store my seeds and selected my seeds, I wanted to give you a little tour of my garden beforehand, because some of you have asked me about coverings and such, and I put together a cover on my raised bed, and all it really is some clear tarps that I've fastened together to make one large sheet. And this one I've actually put on in the fall time, because last year when I actually bought it and I put it together, that was in the springtime so that I could start my seeds early. So this year I put it on in the fall time, and so I'm looking to see how it's going to work out for me this year. So far I've had to really baby it because of the amount of snowfall that we've had, which is unusual for where I live. Well, I shouldn't say it's unusual for where I live. It's just we usually get it spread out over the season as opposed to getting big huge dumpings all at once. So I've had to remove a lot of the snow off the top of it from time to time. But so far so good. I mean, it's still in one piece, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you inside and I'm going to show you my raised bed that I made last year. So inside of my little garden here, it's probably just a few degrees at the moment difference. It just protects everything from the wind and the elements. Once in a while, like, I do get a little bit of wetness, and I don't know if it's because of the type of tarp that it is, but it doesn't seem to affect anything in here. So this is also netting from the last season, and I just left it on because this way I just put the tarp over top of it, and it just helps with keeping it up. You know, it's a lot of trial and error. Right now I've got a few little rope supports so that if we do get a snowfall, it helps keep the tarp up, and it has actually. I mean, the snow has been heavy and it has sagged the top a bit, but I was able to. These little ropes here have been able to keep the tarp up as well, which is unusual. Okay, so here's my raised bed that I made last year, and I've got strawberries there that, I mean, right now everything looks pretty pathetic, but it's winter. I mean, of course it's going to look a little sad, but this is the area that I've designated for my strawberries and my strawberries only. So what I do is I take little shoots and then I'll just replant them in as they start growing. The raised bed itself is 8 feet across and 8 feet long. The entire garden is 8 by 10, so I do have little spots here for some large pots that I plant things in. The inside is 6 by 3 by 6 by 2. So I mean, it's a good size garden, and because I do square foot gardening, it works out really, really well. Now, I can't show you, but there is another raised bed on the other side of the tarp. There is my, on that side of the tarp, I have my potatoes, and there's a small little raised bed that I had found that I put my garlic in. So this is actually cedar. So, and it's only 1 by 6. So they're 3 high, and then of course these little posts are little cedar posts. I think they're 1 by 1, and I've cut them in half. I think they were like 42 inches, and I cut them down to 21. So anyway, so this is my garden that I will be bringing my little seedlings to eventually. There I have my lavender, and I have another lavender pot. I just put them in here because I didn't know where else to put them. My little compost that I use to, and then of course this, I have a couple of tarps, and this, let's see how this is. Well, it's still alive. It's a pot that I had. I have pots outside of the house in the springtime and the summertime with flowers and such, and it just happens to be a pot that was left over, and I forgot to take the ivy inside, but it seems to be doing all right. Now the soil, let's see how the soil is right now. Actually, it's not bad. It was frozen solid, so you can see the top layers have already thawed. And so come springtime, I will have the advantage of being able to put my seedlings in a lot sooner than normal because of the cover. So there you have it. There's a little glimpse of my garden in the winter time. And so let's go back inside, and I will show you the seeds that I've selected for this year. So this is my box of seeds that I've kind of collected over the years, and all this is just a box, and I put a divider in the middle. So I have it in alphabetical order. I made little tags for each section, so I can put my seeds in. Now this doesn't go outside, it stays in the house. And so that way I don't have to worry about my seeds getting wet or anything else happening to them. I usually pull my seeds out, the ones that I'm going to grow for the season, and then go from there. So here's a closer look at my seed box. And you can see that I have it in alphabetical order. It's all very easy for me to find the seeds that I'm looking for. There's not a lot of guessing. And for the amount of money that I spent on that box, it's just, it's well worth the money for me. I mean, I didn't pay a lot. I customized it so that it worked for me, and I'm quite happy with this. Now, there are a lot of other options out there for anybody who is looking to purchase a seed box. There's plastic boxes, and there's also plastic boxes with individual compartments. So you need to look around, and you need to figure out how much you want to spend at keeping your seeds in order. So here I have my selection of seeds, and this is only part, this is what I'll be starting in the house before I can even plant, before the last frost date. So these are ones that I'm going to start ahead of time. So I've got it sectioned off by the weeks that are when I need to start these. Now, in order to find out when you need to start them, you need to look at the back of the packet. And this one, actually these ones are from last year, so I am going to reuse these ones again because I only used a small portion of it. And so when you read the back of the packet, it will tell you, right here it says, I don't know if you can see that, it will tell you that you need to start them 10 weeks before the actual last frost date. So that is my indication as to when I need to plant them. In order to do that, I've also printed out a schedule sheet. And all this is it's just month by month. So it's this one is starting February of this month, and it will tell me, and I've marked off. So this is 11 weeks from the start, or from the frost date, and then 10, and then at the side I've got 9, 8, 7, 6. So I will write down what it is that I need to start in the weeks coming. So it goes all the way to May, and I've indicated my last frost date as to when it is. Now, remember in my previous video, you need to find out what your zone is, your growing zone, your hardiness zone, so that you can figure out when your last frost date is, so that you can plan for that. So here I have, now going back to the seeds, here I have 10, 8, 6 and 8, 4 and 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks, and 2 to 3 weeks. And then I have these for after the frost date. These are the ones that I can plant in the garden once the soil is workable. So I don't need to start these inside. They will do fine just outside on their own. And these are things like peas and beans, lettuce, kale. Now I do have a kale that I need to start ahead of time because of the length of the growing season. But the rest of them all can be planted in the garden when it's workable, when the soil is workable.
Here is a closer look at when I was talking about the weeks that you need to, in order to plan your garden. So again, taking the leeks as an example, if you look at the back of the packet, it will say 10 weeks to start before the last frost date. So, and I have everything from tomatoes. I have a large variety of tomatoes because I plan on making salsas and sauces. So I have a huge variety of tomatoes. Here are some different cabbages and specialty items. I do have, so then I have zucchinis, and so I always end up
Planting more than what I need.
So as you can see, I'll have my schedule. And so because this will start, this little pack will start 10 weeks before the last frost date, they will go into this week, this week here, that I will start planting these ones. And then as we go down, so I've got 8 weeks, so then the tomatoes would be in this week here that I would plant them. And then I have the 6 to 8 weeks, and then they would be planted in here sometimes, so that I can figure out exactly, and it provides me with an idea as to when I'm going to need space. And and then this goes all the way to so then I have that's the last week, but I will be planting stuff this week as well, these last 2 weeks before the last frost. And that would be stuff like my dill, sunflower seeds, catnip, so a lot of my herbs and flowers that I would want in my garden, so that I can bring in pollinators, because we definitely need more pollinators in the garden.
So one of the things I also wanted to mention to you is to get a gardening journal. And this way you can write down the things that you plan on growing. I find that I do a lot of writing during the season, and what I do is I put down notes as to how a crop is working out, whether it's tasty, whether it was hard to get going, or what the fruit is like, the leaves are like, if I ended up with some sort of pest. So I always make notes for the following year. I've also in my book put down my square foot gardening, and I've numbered all the spots, and this way I've designated certain areas for certain crops. So I've designated an area for my strawberries, for my potatoes, for my garlic. In fact, I already started my garlic last fall, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. This is my first year growing garlic. I haven't ever grown garlic before, so I'm curious to see how this is going to work out, and I really, really hope this works for me. So I will keep you posted as to how my garlic is going to turn out. But definitely get yourself a journal, get yourself a notebook, and keep track of your hits and misses. Now I will leave a link down below for the calendar that I hope I can find where I got this from. But I will find a calendar that you can just print off and make your own schedule. I will also leave a link down below as to where I got my seeds from, or where I bought my seeds from, and any other vital information that you're going to need in order to get and choose your seeds.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.